On January 24, 2022, a Walmart employee in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, suspected a lady of stealing approximately $300 in Legos. This vigilant employee alerted local authorities who responded quickly. After seeing the suspect's car, an officer stopped it. The driver was 20-year-old Mariah Davis. Professionally, Officer Johnson sought her driver's license and insurance.
Hey, I'm Officer Johnson. Hey, you got your license and insurance on you? So the reason we stopped you is today because Walmart called and did you suspect of possibly ringing up some items? Huh? Yeah. Huh? You buy items? Okay. Alright. So you remember Native American tribe? Okay, just hang tight for me, alright?
Mariah was calmly informed by Officer Johnson that Walmart had reported a possible shoplifting incident. He briefly mentioned a Native American tribe, but its significance was unclear. She denied that there were other people in the vehicle as the officer collected information. Officer Johnson then asked Mariah about her Walmart shopping and if she bought anything. Mariah revealed her past arrests as the conversation briefly touched on them. Officer Johnson meticulously documented this information during his inquiry. The conversation ended with Officer Johnson asking Mariah about her Walmart purchases to establish a timeline. An evening started with a Walmart excursion turned worrisome. An individual faced a confusing decision after leaving the store with goods. Unsure of their destination, they stopped to think.
Hey. Hello.
Hi.
Is there anyone else in the car?
No.
Okay. So, what were you doing at Walmart?
No?
Yeah.
Buying.
Okay. We're gonna call it you stole Legos earlier. Did he get your ID?
Yeah, he got it.
Okay. You ever been arrested before?
Yeah.
For what?
Receiving stolen property because I was driving someone else's car.
Okay. What all did you buy? Okay. Were you at Walmart earlier?
Yeah, came home, but came to left.
This one?
Yeah, I went to that one and 7 first.
What are you looking for?
A police officer approached their vehicle while they considered their options. The police, likely disturbed by what they saw, asked about the journey's purpose and wanted a receipt for the freshly purchased products. The situation escalated quickly when the officer saw strange items in the car's rear seat. Lego sets and a homemade bomb were among them. This discovery was alarming. The officer cautiously told the driver to get out and stand behind the car. The suspect was told they will be detained for further investigation. Questions regarding the car's contents revealed Xanax bars in a purse.
I just like looking at the Walmart's.
Did you buy anything earlier? Where were you headed to after you just left Walmart? To get food?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where at? Were you gonna go get on the turnpike? Or did you just stop here?
No, I just stopped here. I didn't know where to stop.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't turn around.
As anxiety rose, the officer returned to the strange item in the rear seat. It had enormous fireworks, screws, metal parts, and a menacing covering, suggesting a bomb. The officer requested assistance and told a supervisor about the dangerous scenario for public safety. The police and backup troops analyzed the device's size and threat, keeping the situation tenuous. All involved feared a devastating explosion.
Alright, go ahead and hop out real quick. Come back here and stand by the back side of the car. You're gonna be detained right You have anything illegal in the car?
There's a bat. There's bars in my purse.
Some Xanax bars. You're not prescribed? Okay. You have any guns in the car? Any other drugs?
I don't think so.
Okay.
A typical trip to Walmart had become a potentially dangerous encounter, requiring law enforcers to safeguard everyone's safety. An unnerving event occurred in a dimly lit parking lot. A new car caught the attention of the crowd. A concerned person found anything suspicious in the automobile and reported it. An explosive device was revealed, which was shocking. The source vividly described it as TNT-like, with heavy metal components like screws and nuts joined together.
Bro. Yeah, go ahead and secure her. Explain to me what that device is in the back of your car that looks like a bomb.
I didn't. My boyfriend made that.
Okay, sit tight. There's a fucking bomb in the back of that car. Like, a bunch of fireworks strapped together with, like, metal and shit and wrapped around. Can you start a supervisor out here? It looks like there's some sort of explosive device in the back of the car that someone has built. It's got, like, 4 big-ass fireworks, and there's, like, big old screws and shit all within that, and then it's wrapped, got like a bunch of stuff wrapped around it, and I don't think it's gonna go off. How big is the sketch? It's like this big. It's definitely made to cause some damage when it goes off. Yeah. God, yeah, if she would have somehow like leaned back there and lit that thing, it would have been really bad. Yeah.
The owner's partner made this deadly mixture. As the car's inside was dark, the observers suggested rolling down the windows to see what was in the back seat, and this shocked and confused the crowd. The vehicle's contents were disconcerting, prompting safety concerns. It was decided to identify the boyfriend who made the ominous invention. Questions arose about whether he had other dangerous gadgets at home. As the group considered the possibility that they had found something harmful, tension and uncertainty rose. Later, a legal caution stressed the individual's rights and right to keep silent. This changed the shock to a more professional and serious tone, suggesting an investigation.
Yeah, we'll keep
somebody else gets here.
Yeah.
Did you say an explosive device?
Yeah, it's like a bunch of, it looks like TNT, and then it's got big old metal like screws and like nuts, bolts, and then it's got a bunch of stuff wrapped around it.
Did she say it was?
She said her boyfriend built it. And then there's a bunch of fireworks next to it.
Alright. Don't keep this lane blocked.
Alright.
She wouldn't even nervous or anything when you were seeing her talk to her, 'cause I didn't.
Kinda, she was quiet. But I couldn't see in the back window because the tent's so dark.
Yeah.
And I said roll it down, and then I was like, what the fuck is that? Back seat. She just, all she said is that her boyfriend made it. So we probably want to figure out who boyfriend is, and if there's any more at his house, maybe. All right, I'm gonna read something to you real quick, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have them present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish one. If you decide to make a statement, you may stop at any time. Do you understand each of these rights?
In the middle of it all, Zane emerges the lover behind the car's mysterious contents. Everyone was on edge and eager to find out what happened to this unnerving discovery. The situation unfolds with tension and concern. Mariah calls the police to report a Walmart theft, and her boyfriend, Zane Bennett, arrives on foot and appears embroiled in the drama. Mariah seems to be absolving herself by asking Zane to take the vehicle they used to get to Walmart. When law enforcement arrives, the situation escalates swiftly. Mariah was accused of shoplifting and Zane's 20. Zane's questioned and asked for identification by police. He says his girlfriend had his ID, but he has a photo. Another person, Patrick, claims to have just come from a car wash. The cops question Patrick about his friend's whereabouts.
Did I've explained to you? Okay, are you willing to talk to us? Okay. So what's the deal in the back of your car? You said your boyfriend built it?
I honestly have I don't know nothing about fireworks except for fireworks. I mean,
Okay. What's your boyfriend's name?
Zane.
Zane?
Yeah.
What's his last name?
Bennett. B-E-N-N-E-T-T.
Okay. When did he make that? Or
Like, yes, a couple days ago.
okay, do you know why he made it or anything?
Made it just right away.
The conversation becomes more serious when the officers mention a dark Dodge vehicle and worry about contacting its owner. Zane admits to making a fireworks-based bomb in a hotel room and leaving it in his girlfriend's car. The tension rises when the cops explain why they closed the area. Zane's explosive device may be deadly. They call it fireworks linked together like an explosive device. Zane claims it's innocuous and was designed to blow up watermelons. This situation is confusing, suspicious, and dangerous. The police are taking precautions owing to the perceived threat of the improvised device, though Zane denies malice. The officer's assessment of the situation and risks leaves this encounter questionable.
Where'd you come from?
I came walk the car wash. My friend brought up here.
Where'd your friend go?
He still worked at the car wash.
Where's your vehicle?
Hey, so you're not on arrest code, but I'm going to detain you real quick because we got some things we got to talk about. Okay.
Where's your vehicle?
The truck with the lake.
The dark Dodge with no front bumper? I don't know if you want to mess with it, but the truck that just dropped him off is that dark Dodge. We want to have somebody go make contact with him. It's his friend.
In an unusual and potentially deadly turn of events, Mariah offered Zane, a new acquaintance, a ride to recover his car from the Canterbury kennel. Zane nonchalantly told Mariah that he had created a homemade explosive device from pyrotechnics and other unusual things while they traveled. Zane said he wanted to test the explosion near watermelons. He said he had no evil intent or plans to use it as a weapon, with surprising disregard. He left it in the car because he had scrapped the experiment.
Because it's kind of our protocol is it looks like an explosive device. So is it like active? Is it like volatile to where if it falls, breaks, is it going to go off?
It's literally just fireworks. Like if you take it apart, it's a bunch of little fireworks.
That are tied like in tape?
Well, I mean, okay, so it's like a...
Mariah doubted Zane's innocence after their discussion. When the authorities asked her about her connection to Zane, she said she had just met him through the Canterbury kennel. The police investigation worsened the issue.
Next step today, he was going to take it out and blow up some watermelons with it. He said it's a couple of fireworks tied together. You have to light it like a normal firework. And he said, I just wanted to see what the stuff I taped to it on the outside would do if I lit it by a watermelon. Yeah, I said, were you trying to use it as a weapon? Were you gonna, go do anything today? He goes, no, I was just gonna blow up some watermelons. And I said, okay. And he goes, that's why I left it in the car, because we were gonna go and then we didn't go. So I was like, all right, cool. So he doesn't even seem really nervous at all about it.
How's it going, bud? Good, how are you? Can you stop the truck for me?
Yeah. Hey, man, how do you know that guy, Zane? Oh, he asked me for a ride, said he needed to come get his car.
From where?
From up at the Canterbury. Okay, you've never met him before? Yeah, I met him.
You just know I'm through the Canterbury?
Sir?
You know I'm through the Canterbury?
Yes, sir.
You stay up there?
No, I don't stay there.
Okay, you were just over there and he needed a ride?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you have ID on you? Alright, just sit tight for a second. We'll get you out of here in a second, but we're trying to figure out what's going on with his car.
What happened?
There's some weird stuff in there, so we got to figure that out. And if you're good to go, you can get out of here. But since you dropped him off and he's directly related to all this, we just want to figure out who you are and if there's anything going on.
Oh, okay.
No, for
An X-ray of the explosive device revealed pyrotechnics, fish hooks, metal shavings, screws, and rivets, which may cause havoc. Risky experimenting by Zane could have deadly results. The Tulsa Police Department's bomb team skillfully dismantled the device, preventing a calamity.
We thought We had seen it all, from mass murders, psychopaths, hooligans, and serial killers to even presidents. Cops have been on a roll arresting people of all types, but have seen cases where they arrest FBI agents. Were they rightly arrested? And do wrongful arrests of law enforcement officials call for the arrest with heavier punishments? Join us as we check a look at bizarre cases where dumb decisions from cops take them to rather odd position. So why don't we just kick things off with a crossover story of an FBI agent who has been wrongfully jailed? In our first case, the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department detained a former FBI agent for no apparent reason. It was a bizarre and ridiculous incident. As it turned out, Roger Golubski, a former detective, had been falsely accused of assaulting 2 black women between 1998 and 2002. There have been 2 accusations, to be exact. The real question is, however, how did the Kansas City police force allow him to get away with it for so long? Roger Golubski's unsolved case was discovered by the FBI while it was looking into the Kansas City Police Department's behavior. The former detective had a history of sexually assaulting women over the course of his 35-year career as a police officer and had been trading drugs for information. Lamonte McIntyre, a young black man, was accused of committing a double homicide by Golubski during his time as a police officer. McIntyre was ultimately freed after serving 24 years in prison without proper cause as a result. Golubski was taken into custody by the FBI on suspicion of 6 counts of sexually assaulting 2 black women. He has since entered a not guilty plea. Despite the jury rejecting his lawyer's request for release on medical grounds, he was kept in custody for routine medical examination. Black woman Rhonda Tribute, whose corpse was discovered in 1998, was one of Golubski's informants. Her case remains unsolved despite the fact that the investigation was started but never finished. She died, and Golubski's involvement is now being called into question by many people. That is exactly what we are saying. Many civil rights advocates across the nation have praised the arrest of Golubski, but it also raises serious questions about police behavior and the abuse of their authority. According to Tricia Bullnell, the director of the Midwest Innocence Project, a full investigation into the abuses in Wyandotte County and systematic reforms are needed to ensure that no other police officers and public officials can continue to abuse their power. As more of Golubski's crimes were discovered, it became clear that the Kansas City Police Department needed significant restructuring. Several inquiries remain unanswered as a result of the FBI's inquiry into the department. Roger Golubski's arrest was long overdue, but it's worth noting that it was the FBI, not the Kansas City Police, who brought him to justice. Next up, with the arrest of 2 Drug Enforcement Administration officers by the FBI in Nassau County, Florida, the situation has unexpectedly turned around. The DEA, a law enforcement organization renowned for its aggressive efforts to combat the drug trade, has charged 2 officers with drug-related offenses. But the system's level of dysfunction clearly remains unclear. While selling drugs, including cocaine, that had been seized to willing customers, Sergeant James Hickox was captured with his hand in a cookie jar. His greed knew no bounds as he also combined drugs with other substances to make up the weight difference and kept parts for himself. In his bedroom closet, the FBI discovered 3 shoeboxes, each containing $100,000 in cash. They also discovered another $200,000 hidden in his garage. Hickox claimed that he borrowed the funds for his claim by partaking in his gambling habit when asked where the money came from. Hickox's actions have hurt the DEA's reputation and are obviously a breach of his obligations as a law enforcement officer. Joshua Erie, a highway inspector, had been covered in the same drugs that had to be seized, even going so far as to legally approve the prescription of 43 oxycodone pills. He purchased drugs from drug dealers. As if that weren't enough, while under the influence of drugs, he acquired a gun. Due to the fact that he was trusted with the law rather than the law itself, Erie's actions were not only wrong, but also dangerous. The surprise arrest of these officers leaves the public wondering just how pervasive corruption is Within law enforcement organizations, Sheriff Bill Leeper expressed his dissatisfaction by saying, "I think we need to make sure law enforcement personnel who violate the law are held accountable. When I learned of the accusations, I was shocked, let down, repulsed, and beyond angry. These incidents where the police ran into the FBI were some of the most shocking ones. We now look at our last and final case. A significant mishap that made headlines involved the case of mistaken identity between a Florida deputy and an FBI agent. When he received a call from a man claiming to be an FBI agent and asking to meet him in a nearby parking lot, Officer Gordon found himself in a precarious situation. This is a classic illustration of what can go wrong if a person doesn't confirm the identity of the person they're meeting, especially when speaking to a police officer. I do, but I don't understand what the problem is with your meeting me at the office. I'll talk to the U.S. Attorney's Office about it. Cut off the recording device now. Okay, well, I will when I leave the area, sir. Well, I will when I leave the area, sir. Asked the officer to turn off his recording device. Suspicions should have been aroused. However, Officer Gordon continued to record the conversation, a classic move. This was a wise decision as well, because it provided proof of what had happened, which, as you can probably guess, didn't turn out too well for Officer Gordon. Despite Agent Hatton's efforts to persuade Gordon that he was an FBI agent, the officer was skeptical and demanded to know how the agent obtained his phone number, given the predicament the officer was in. It is not shocking that he requested assistance and handcuffed Agent Hatton. However, things started to spiral out of control. It got worse when Hatton shut the car door, especially considering how hot it was in Florida. It's fortunate that Agent Hatton's condition didn't worsen because Gordon made a bad choice in doing this. Concerns were raised by Officer Gordon regarding Agent Hatton's investigation into the actions of law enforcement agencies in North Florida. Agent Hatton's claims that he was an FBI agent may not have been taken seriously by the officer because he was aware of the widespread corruption within the police department and worried about being connected to it. Let's say his ego overcame him. The hour-long incident took place on December 20 in a parking lot off U.S. Highway 98 in the coastal fishing community, 45 miles southwest of Tallahassee. Due to the heat, Agent Hatton, who was shielded from the elements by a bulletproof vest and had limited access to air conditioning, started to experience health problems like nausea and suffocation. He, however, avoided a fatal situation by being taken to a nearby hospital, where he received treatment for dehydration and heat exhaustion before being released. What do you think of our list? Do you think there are more corrupt officials out there? Sound off in the comments below. And while you are at it, make sure to hit subscribe and leave a like for more such content. Thanks for watching. Police officers protect us from the evil people out there, but what if they turn out to be one among them? Today, we are going to reveal 3 female police officers who became the most wanted criminals and committed the unthinkable. Who are these female police officers? What did they do? Rose Valentino was a highly skilled police officer who had shown her immense dislocation and hard work towards her occupation in the police service. But an incident threw her off from her good record track and cut her name forever from the Cincinnati police officer list.
She said she became angry after a teenage student gave her the middle finger when she was over at Western Hills High School.
She was a star looked upon by her fellow officers. Her appearance in the TLC reality tube show gained her several fans. She had a positive attitude and was on good terms with most of the people she came across. On April 5th, 2022, Rose Valentino was on duty and was driving her police car. She was heading to the district police station to hand over a report when she noticed disturbing traffic caused by many cars parked near Western Hills University High School. She was in the driveway and found it very difficult to drive as these cars were linked up before her as an obstacle. Even though she was in no hurry, she became very furious and switched on her sirens and light. The people who were in the cars were the parents of the students studying in the high school. They all came to pick up their children after school hours. Rose Valentino was aware of the situation, but she couldn't control her anger. She started being verbally angry and demanding they move their cars. Her window was down and she started yelling at the people to move their cars and provide her with a way out. A black male student was fossa pointed with the furious behaviors of Rose Valentino Demguille. He put up his middle finger. This was spotted by those, and she became even more furious. She reached a stage where she was no longer in control of her emotion. She started verbally abusing the boy by speaking mean words. She then started shouting the N-word, and this was heard by the crowd. Her frustration was due to the long lines of traffic and the ignorance shown by the people who did not move their cars. The incident was known to the public as it was recorded by the board camera in her car. Otherwise, she would have escaped the situation way before. As it was a recorded incident and primary evidence is there, actions had to be taken against her. The white police officer uses racial slurs against a high school student. This was the heading that covered all the newspapers and media. Rose Valentino was the one who claimed that the student showed her the middle finger. She has no evidence to prove her claim. Her board camera only recorded her racial slurs and aggressive behaviors. The student was not even visible in the board camera. Her claims will not stand on their own in court. She needs to prove it with evidence. As we look into the matter, we understand that Western Hills University High School is primarily filled with black students. Around 70% of the classroom strength is occupied by black students, was the interim police officer, and she thoroughly checked the circumstances and reason for Rose to lead up to get sort of character. City officials approved the recommendation of Teresa. Rose Valentino no longer enjoyed her role in the police service. The Cincinnati Police Department did not want a person like Rose Valentino to work for them. The next story is about Megan Hall, a patrol officer of Laverne. Her story would shock you forever. 4 officers got suspended along with Megan Hall for engaging in sexual acts during service. Juan Lugo Piers, Lewis Powell, Seneca Shields, and Henry T. McGowan were the 4 police officers who got the suspension. What did they do? What were the offenses they committed? Patrick Magliocco, Larry Holliday, and Gavin Schuberl were faced with immediate suspension. Jason Cole, Laverne's mayor, received information that Megan was having several affairs in her department. An investigation was conducted to find out the truth. Magliocco was the first to admit to having sex with her, and she even kissed his wife after discovering that he had an open marriage. Since the spring of 2022, Magliocco and his wife was engaging in sexual acts with Hall. They were even caught by her husband, but were not accused of anything severe. Powell was married when he had oral sex with Megan while on duty. He came to know that Hall had multiple partners, and this led him to confess his doings to his wife and come clean before her. Seneca Shields was the difficult one among these police officers, as he denied having any kind of sexual relation with Hall. When investigated further, he revealed that they were engaged in oral sex at the department's gym. They did these acts while being on duty. Holliday said that once he invited his fellow officers to his home, and they were all heavily drunk, but nothing happened in his home. Then, later on, he admitted to meeting Hall in hotel rooms and enhancing in sexual acts with her. McGowan had visited Hall's place along with his female friends, and they exposed their genitals before Hall. The Memorial Day hot tub party was the incident that led to the revelation of this major scandal. Officer Stats posted the video where they were all having fun. Magliocco forced Hall to drink vodka, and Hall was heavily intoxicated. She was unable to think in her right mind, and she took her top off at the party. Officer Durham was with Hall enjoying the pool when she showed her breasts to everyone. Stats tried to cover her up and protect her from future embarrassment. As the investigation went deeper, Hall was asked about all these accusations. She denied every one of them and said that she did not have any kind of sexual relations with the men in her department. She said that she had a relationship with Holliday. Apart from that, she did not have any kind of malicious relationships. She revealed that she had sent revealing images to the officers. She admits that she had a sexual relationship with Powell and Perez. Lugo was in denial that he had any kind of relationship with Hall. At the end of the investigation, the scandal was sealed by firing Hall, Lugo, Powell, Shields, and McGowan. Holliday, Magliocco, and Achieved were faced with a suspension due to their relationship with Hall. 26 February 1996 was the day this brutal murder happened. The daughter of Dr. Nels Rasmussen was murdered in Los Angeles. Before being murdered, Sherry felt stalked for a long time, and she informed her father about her concerns about being stalked. Stephanie J. Lazarus was the person who stalked Sherry. Sherry's father was desperately trying to bring out her murderer before the court, but police tried to close the case by putting it under the category of robbery. Many said that the police tried to cover up the murder and redirect it as they didn't want to lose one of their own. Why would Stephanie murder Sherry? What was the motive? Well, it's a love triangle. John, the husband of Sherry, was in love with Stephanie before he got married to Sherry. Stephanie was head over heels in love with John, but they could not get married to each other. They were in ULA together and celebrated their love for each other with the batch of '92, but their on and off relationship did not survive much. John met Sherry shortly after he ended things with Stephanie. Sherry was working at the Glendale Adventist Medical Center and was a sweetheart. He soon fell for her and asked her hands for marriage. Stephanie thought he lost John forever, but John decided to hook up with her for one last time. They had a secret relationship and no one knew about it. John later on ended things as soon as he got officially married in 1996, but Stephanie became emotionally locked in. Stephanie took her gun and shot Sherry to death in her house. John and left the place. The police officers couldn't find the murderer, but later on, they found out after 23 years through DNA tests. Do you think Stephanie killed Sherry? Is jealousy strong enough to kill a human being? Let us know in the comments